Well, why don't we pivot into what's new? Because of course
Yeah.
that's the big thing that we were looking forward to coming into this week. X Lives of Wolverine issue 1. I did read that as well. I loved your review. Thought you absolutely did it justice. But I'm the one thing that stood out because I actually read your review before I read it, as much as we get the advanced review copies. And as I was reading your review, I was like, huh, you call it trippy. And I was
Yeah.
like, I've read a lot of a lot of Ben Percy's run so far. I still have a couple issues to catch up on, and he has a total feel for this character, and everything feels very gritty all the time. And obviously, Kuber is an outstanding artist. Really love how he draws Wolverine. And it's just everything about the monologue and the pacing, and then of course the back and forth and the issues that Wolverine is dealing with, whether it's the vampires or the auction stuff, was so cool. Seeing him be Patch
Yeah.
again is great.
Yeah.
But when you said trippy, I was like, huh. That sounds a little different, but then it's like, all right, now we're kind of getting a Days of Future Past sort of thing going
Yeah.
on here, and it
Right.
makes perfect sense.
And I originally was going with meta, but I was
Mm,
like, no, it doesn't really. I don't
yeah, that's
know. It
not it.
doesn't. It didn't fit. But trippy, and I knew like Megan said the same thing when she read it. She goes like, is it like 70s? Acid trip trippy. I go, no, it's trippy. It's like it was really. I couldn't find another act.
Acid Trip might not be too far off. I
Might
mean, I'm
not
not
be too
talking
too far.
not a saga Acid Trip,
Right.
but
But
yes,
the whole thing, with the new X-Men and Krakoa, I mean, it's trippy shit, right?
yeah, it's
Like,
a lot.
because they die and they come back, and it's no big thing, and it's just like this.
Hmm.
So that book just fucking cranks at 11 all the way through, and that shit that you get there, right? Like
Hmm.
with the origin stuff.
Hmm.
Oh man, like he wasn't fucking around when he said
No.
he is completely changing things.
Yeah, and I went back and re-listened to that interview that we had with Ben. I know we want to catch up with him after a few issues of this event that he's working on. But listening back to his interview, man, that guy has such a great feel for the character, and he
Mm,
obviously, writers care about the characters that they're working on. And more, obviously the ones that they create, like we're talking about Saga, right? Of course, those individuals like Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples care about the characters they created. But when you're talking about characters that you inherit, like a Wolverine or a Daredevil or a Nightwing, you usually assume that writers care about those characters to some end. Ben absolutely, like when he was talking to us about Wolverine, he loves Wolverine. I mean, so much so that he has adapted his voice through practice over the years to sound exactly like Wolverine. And he lives in the wilderness like Wolverine as well. So he's really taken it seriously. Method writing, I think some would call that. But seriously, like you hear him talk about it, and it's like this is an absolute representation of how you've been handling this character as you've been writing him over the past, was it 19 issues, not counting
yeah,
X Lives of Wolverine.
yeah, about a year and a half. It,
Yeah,
it was an
and the
absolutely.
podcast too.
Yeah, and the
Oof.
podcast, it was an absolute stellar book. It's been an absolute stellar series. So, and it's going to pick back up after this event. So it
Mhm.
seems though. So, must read, hands down.
Absolutely. Now, as for the other books that came out this week, ones that are on our respective pull list, we have Devil's Reign X-Men issue 1 that we're both going to be reading. She-Hulk issue 1, which I did read, really enjoyed this. Probably give it like an 8, maybe an 8.5, but I'm leaning more towards 8, but it's in that middle range. A good first issue. Definitely going to go pick up the next one. Devil's Reign Villains for Hire issue 1, which you're not going to be reading this?
That one, no, I don't think I'm going to read the Villains for Hire, but I do want to read the Devil's Reign X-Men.
Yeah, that was well. I mean,
Yeah, and then
the
I still have to catch up on last week's Superior 4 too.
Superior. Oh yeah. That was good.
Yeah,
I liked
yeah.
that a lot, and I liked the Villains for Hire one. That was good too.
I mean, I
It
may
was
read it,
solid.
but like, there's a lot here, so like, I'm going to pick
Mm,
and choose some of these.
that's true. Well, we also have all the review copies, but I would
Right.
say if for those of our listeners out there that are trying to cut stuff down or pick and choose which things you're going to read, Woman Without Fear is definitely number one of these spinoffs.
Hmm.
Then I would probably say Superior 4 of the ones that I've read. I still got to check out the X-Men one, but that is one that I am going to be reading. You had a couple that had your attention as well. Silk issue 1, Silver Surfer Rebirth issue 1. Either one of those you like more so than the other that you're more excited about?
Well, I really enjoyed the last Silk series. It was a 6 issue run.
That's right.
Really enjoyed that. It was fun. But the last Silver Surfer I read was Silver Surfer Black by Donnie Cades. This obviously
Mm.
isn't written by him, but I've never read a ton of Silver Surfer. Same with Silk, but I'm actually really looking forward to this one.
Speaking of Donny Cates, so the Hulk issue 3 came out too, or sorry, Hulk issue 3. I
Yeah.
forgot to mention that we both read that one, and it is
Nah.
it's yeah. I mean, It's probably the best new Marvel book right now. Like of ones that just restarted with a title, restarted with an artist. Hulk is the one that you got to be reading right now. And as like Joe's more of a Hulk guy than I am, but
And
I
I'm
still wouldn't.
barely a Hulk guy.
Yeah, I wouldn't say you're a Hulk guy either way. So this is, I mean, Donnie Cades is just freaking awesome. I've talked about. I think I've only done one book on the show. You've done a couple, I think, of Donnie's books on this
Yeah,
show,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but anytime he's writing something, like you
I
got
mean, you
to
want
give
to talk
credit.
about meta. Hulk is meta.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah.
I think Donnie Cates is trying to corner the market on meta between
Yeah.
Hulk and crossover. Which is one of the books that you talked about. That and Redneck, I think, are the two that you've done from
Yeah,
Donnie
yeah,
Cates, right? And then I've done God Country.
I also did I did Venom.
Oh, that's right. Yes, yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Venom. Yes, and did he do Absolute Carnage too?
Yes.
Yeah, so there you go. So yeah, you've done a ton of Donnie Cates. So we should look at that breakdown at some point, see who's done what over the time, repeats and everything.
You said there wasn't a lot of news this week, but Moon Knight #7 came out, and what did we get, Nicholas?
We got the Moon Knight trailer. That's a good call. That's a good call. And okay, so I'll let you go first on this.
Well, I have, the only knowledge that I have of Moon Knight is when you talked about Lemire's book on here, which I am going to read.
Please do.
Especially ahead of March.
Yeah.
For the show. But after watching that trailer, I want to know everything there is to know about Moon Knight. I want to soak it all in, because I'll tell you what, that poster with his hand holding that fucking moon blade, just, even Megan, when I showed her the trailer, she goes, "Oh, that looks awesome. That looks dark."
Yep.
And that is what I want from a Disney Plus show. I want something that's a little darker. And oh man, I know some people have some issues with Oscar Isaac with the British accent, but I don't give a fuck.
So let me ask something, because I didn't. So I know some of our guys in the DSG kind of expressed a concern with that, and I didn't want to get clarification from them, because it would have been a whole thing, and they wouldn't like if I go and try and make a case, provide any semblance of logic on something, because God forbid we do that. But did you get the impression that they didn't like Oscar Isaac's accent, the way he was performing it, or they didn't like that the character was doing an accent?
I think they didn't like Oscar Isaac with a British accent.
Got it. Okay, all right. That's a different complaint, and because I'm thinking, like, if they don't like that Mark Spector is coming in with an accent, even though he's American, but we're dealing with an individual that has multiple personalities. Which, to have an individual with multiple personalities not necessarily execute an accent perfectly, while you may want that from an actor to get it done right, it does kind of make sense for the character. And I don't necessarily know Stephen Grant to have a British accent, but given his role, he's kind of highfalutin and everything. Giving him a British accent isn't necessarily the most ridiculous thing. But
yeah,
I saw this trailer, Joe, and I was like, seeing even the teaser where we see Moon Knight beating the shit out of somebody.
Yes.
I was like,
when his suit comes on, oh man,
they got this. They got
throttle.
it. I could not be going into this more excited. And I felt that way about Boba Fett. And I was like, okay, I got to kind of reel it in a little bit, because I'm worried, like, the whole respect thing. Is he going to try and be too nice and become a good guy? I don't like that. Moon Knight, I'm not getting any sense of that from the trailer. It seems like that he's going to come in and he's going to cause a lot of shit. And I definitely recommend reading the Lemire run, which I talked about on here a while back. Gives a very good representation of the multiple personality stuff, which it seems like they're going to dig into that. Cullen Bunn, I think, wrote 13 issues on the character as well. And there's another run, too, that I can't recall who the writer or artist was on that one, but it was from a few years back, where you also start seeing, Moon Knight doing, hallucinating and things like that, like thinking some of the Avengers are with him. So there's a lot of good Moon Knight out there. I've enjoyed this run. I didn't read this week's issue of Moon Knight, but I've enjoyed it. Some people are going and praising it as the best book of 2021. I think I saw comicbook.com had that. That's a reach. Like, it's solid.
Yeah.
It's not my favorite Moon Knight stuff we've gotten. It's solid. I think it's better than the last bit of stuff that we got. Maybe.
There's no way in hell I'm sure it's a great book. There's no way in hell that Moon Knight series is the best book of 2021.
No,
not by a fucking long shot.
Not by a long shot. We left off a lot of good books on our respective lists.
It probably wouldn't be top 25 if we're being honest.
No. I probably, like, just off the top of my head, I'd probably agree to that. As some other stuff that came out from Marvel this week, not necessarily on our pull lists: Amazing Spider-Man 86, Venom 4, Star Wars: The High Republic 13. That is off my pull list now, just because I've just been getting frustrated with that title. Eternals 9 from our guy Kieran Gillen, Defenders 5, Ben Reilly, Spider-Man 1. I know a lot of people don't necessarily care for that character. Death of Doctor Strange, X-Men in Black Knight issue 1. I might be giving that one a look. We'll see. Joe, why don't you take us through what's coming out from DC this week?
So a lot of good ones. Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, number 7. Robin's number 3. Blue and Gold, which unfortunately I dropped off of.
Same.
Number 5 comes out. Aquaman, The Becoming, number 5. Batman versus Bigby, A Wolf in Gotham, number 5. I never got past the first issue on that. Black Manta, number 5. And then we have Detective Comics 1049. Which I haven't read yet, but I'm looking forward to. Superman, Son of Kal-El, Tom Taylor, issue number 7 comes out. Can't wait to read that. 2 books that I read, and I think you read as well. Start with Nightwing 88. We're back.
Yeah.
We're back to the storyline where we were at right before the Fear State bullshit took over. And even though the last issue, didn't deal with any of that stuff, it was still really cool. But this issue, like, we're finally back to like that writing that Tom Taylor, like that interesting storyline, with the mayor and Blockbuster and everything was going on, and it was fucking fantastic.
It was fantastic, and I gotta say, I like Dick Grayson in general, right? I know our guy Benjamin Percy wrote the character a while back. Kyle Higgins, who we've had on as well, wrote the character in New 52, which I did talk about that run. So I like a lot of Nightwing stuff, which is why I wanted to give the Rick Grayson run a chance, but then was frustrated with it in hindsight. But since Tom Taylor has taken on this character, it's been great, and obviously the stuff with Alfred is very interesting. But what I've kind of been moved by in this, and I didn't necessarily expect to be, is Dick Grayson is a character who definitely supports others, but him receiving, like allowing others to help him out, it's impacted me in a way that I didn't necessarily expect it to. And it's a great story in general, if that doesn't necessarily speak to you, but he really is getting the character and hitting a spot that, to me, I haven't noticed it been hit on before, and it's really speaking to me as a reader too. So I've really enjoyed this.
Yeah, it was tremendous, and especially that last page, that last sort of big splash panel that you get there. It was awesome, absolutely awesome. And then from our guy, friend of the podcast, friend of the show, Chip Zdarsky, my man.
You love that. You absolutely love that.
I sure do. Batman the Knight, number 1. And so this is, when this was first announced, it was announced as, Batman's, origin again, in the sense of, him training to become Batman. And I remember Davey sort of saying, haven't we already gotten this before? But with Zdarsky, we said this before, it's going to be different. And it was. The first issue was a very unique portrayal of a very angry young Bruce Wayne, which isn't new, but I think it was the manner in which he was angry, how he was acting out, how he was being a bully in a sense. Again, I can't keep going back to this enough. The integral role that Alfred plays. That scene where Alfred just sort of lays the smackdown on Bruce Wayne's entitled candy ass and trying to teach him a lesson, I thought was great. And then how it sort of progressed through, it was similar, but so very different from what we've gotten in this aspect of Bruce Wayne's life in Becoming of Batman. Like, again, this is a must read. If you're a Batman fan, it's a must read because, like, again, Zdarsky knows people. His ability to write emotions is right there with Jeff Lemire. It is next level.
So I read this and I texted you right after. I think actually, honestly, weirdly enough, we kind of read this at the same time because we're.
Did you say we finished at the same time?
I didn't. I wouldn't necessarily say that. I can't guarantee that. And I don't know if I'd put it that way because I don't have a mind like you do. But anyways, when I was reading this, I texted you afterwards, and I was like, it was different and it was interesting. I did enjoy it. For a little while, I was like, where are we going with this? It seems a little strange. I'm not entirely sure. And
then boom.
And then it kind of it got its direction. So if you feel at first like, the guys liked it, I felt like at first it was kind of like good, but wait a minute, what is this? I was a little apprehensive. As much as I trust Chip Zdarsky and his Batman, of course I'm going to be interested. It picks up steam, I would say about maybe a quarter of the way in, and then it's like, okay, like now we're good. Okay, now I get it.
And it's not like it's a slog. You're just sort of going, where is this going? And you're trying to figure it out, and where's Zdarsky going to take it? And but it was just we're not used to seeing, we're used to seeing, young Bruce Wayne angry, but he was angry in a different way, in the way he
Mhm.
was acting out and the entitledness. It was very unique, very interesting. Um, Batman fans, you're gonna want to read it, and
Yeah, I agree.
hands down. No,
I think I agree with that 100%. Um, when we look over at Boom as we move forward and what's new, let's see, we got we only find them when they're dead issue 10, which I know you're reading. And then just to go through your pull list from Boom, we got the matter regarding Oswald's body issue 3,
yep,
Maw issue 5, Cursed, Pirate Girl, The Devil's Cave issue 1. And then for my pull list, we got Power Rangers issue 15. Ryan Parrott is doing a great job with this Eltarian War. Absolutely loving it. Angel issue 1, which I do plan to read, have not got to it yet. I should be able to talk about that and catching up in our next episode. And then I think my favorite book of the week. And I don't know if you got to read it. I know, Joe, you have been reading Seven Secrets by Tom Taylor since I talked about it on the show a little while back. But okay, did you get to read this yet?
I read it right before we came on. Yeah.
Okay, good. Because I texted you. I was like, that was holy shit. It's like
Yeah.
the whole issue is outstanding. The stage has been set it's outstandingly for this third arc. Don't know how many arcs we got left in this story.
I'd imagine this is it.
It could be because Tom Taylor's
Yeah.
got the exclusive deal, which sucks for Daniel DiNicola because he's been awesome. This whole series has been awesome, but like the third page or the second page, I can't remember, but holy shit.
Like, what?
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 Huh?
Oh, fuck you.
Oh, my
oh, fuck you.
But then I was like, it's Tom Taylor. Like, what else should I expect in this? This is what's going to happen every time you deal with him. This way it is.
Yeah,
but
I love DiNiculo's art too. It is this whole book. The pacing was tremendous. It was just boom, 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 and it set a lot of shit up. And even though it's been a little while since issue 12 came out, this isn't like some of those other books. It's like, I'm like the book we'll get to in just a moment here. Excellence. I'm like, oh, it's been too far in between fucking issues. I got to just start from the beginning again.
Yeah, and I do want to get to that. So, because I know Keith's going to be joining us shortly, I want to fly through some of these other ones that we got coming out. Not to make light of any of these books, because I know we go right to Vault. You got The Last Book You'll Ever Read, issue 5, which we're both reading, really enjoying that. You're reading The Rush from Vault. The third issue of that is out this week. From Dynamite, we got Red Sonja, Black, White, and Red, issue 1, which I thought they already had stuff because I got a signed cover from a copy from John Boy Myers, so I'm a little confused by that. Either way, Aftershock, Almost American, issue 4, Heathens by Cullen Bunn. I know we tweeted about that. One of us has got to make sure we read that.
I've got the first 2 issues.
Okay. Do you want dibs, or do you want to read it before you call dibs?
Let me read it first. Yeah.
Okay. Issue 3 of that is out this week. The Search for Who, issue 5, and My Date with Monsters, issue 3, which I didn't care for that first issue of that one too much as it's Paul Tobin, and I loved Bunny Mask, which is of course from Aftershock as well. From from IDW, we have TMNT 125, Usagi Yojimbo, of course, your guy, issue 25, Star Wars Adventures, issue 14, and then my favorite, Kanto 3, Lionhearted, issue 5, friggin' mouthful. AWA out, issue 4, Crimson Cage, issue 2. Valiant, we have the Return of Shadow Man. Of course, Colin has been writing that series as well. Issue 5, can't wait to get back on that train. Dark Horse, we have Cloaked, issue 2, which we
didn't get a review for this.
Dark Horse has been trying to be civil, right? Cloaked, we love the first issue, and we're going to be reading the second one. Comixology waited a long time for We Have Demons issue 3. That came out. I was a little annoyed that it took so long for me to get it, but some would say, I guess this is what I get for cheating. I don't know.
Payback, bitch.
We're going to be talking about all of Scott's books in detail ahead of their releases, their floppy releases at local comic shops in March. We liked all the series, definitely TLDR worthy, so we'll break those down. From Skybound, as we move towards that in Image before our main topic of the day. From Skybound, we got The Walking Dead Deluxe issue 31, and we actually got the Return of Excellence issue 12. So I know you kind of talked about it a little bit, Joe, and I will let you expand. You kind of gave me that warning where it's been too long, so I had that going in. So there was definitely an element of that, but the way that Brandon Thomas, like the way he writes this and the dialogue in this, I think is so well done. And because I am like, the larger issue at hand is a lot. There's no question
Yes.
about it. There's the whole social commentary, which I get, but then there's some components of it, like I guess the magical their world side of it, that can confuse me. But the father-son relationship is so something anybody can relate to, and that was what we focused so much on in this issue. And I just thought that was so well done that where I get where you're coming from, it didn't even matter to me in
Yeah,
this issue.
that aspect of it, no, that was spot on because that was and that got pretty intense. And that
Oh
was
yeah.
it's a major theme of the book. It's a major theme of the book, but it was a major theme of this issue. But like there's still this overarching story that I'm kind of lost because it's been fucking 5 years between issues.
It's
And
been like
I got
almost
to
a
catch
year. I
up.
mean, it's pretty
Yeah.
crazy. It
But so I
sucks.
definitely
But
want to go back, and I think there's a trade coming out soon. But I definitely want to catch up,
mhm.
and sort of reread Excellence, just bang them all out in a row, and just get that much more of an appreciation for it. Because the last couple issues have been great, but it's been a year and a half, I think, really for 2 issues, maybe 3 issues to come out.
And that was one of the first books that I talked about on TLDR. It might have been TLDR 2, 3,
Yeah,
somewhere in that range. So if you haven't read it already,
and at that point, 8 issues had already been out.
yeah. So if you haven't read Excellence, and you listen to it, we still love it, but you actually kind of made a right move and being patient on it. But I would say, it's still worth your time, no matter what, even if you got to
Hundred
go and do a
percent.
little bit of refresher. We've really enjoyed it. And as we look at the larger brand of Image, we have King Spawn issue 5, which I reviewed, or no, sorry, issue 6, that I reviewed for Geeks Worldwide. Loving it. I mean, the good end to the first arc for Sean Lewis and Javier Fernandez. Primordial issue 5, which I'm behind on, but you've been staying on top of. That's the final issue of that from Jeff Lemire.
I believe so. Yep.
Silver Coin issue 8, Time Before Time 9, Homesick Pilots issue 12, which you've been reading, Bolero issue 1, which we both got an advanced copy of that even before the recent ones that we got. And we enjoyed that first issue. Sweet Paprika issue 7, which I'm behind on, but fully intend to talk about on Valentine's Day. Aerosmith Behind
Fully.
Enemy Lines, issue 1, which I don't know what they're going on with the name there. And then real quick, just want to say Righteous Thirst for Vengeance issue 4 continues to go at breakneck speed, but I continue to enjoy this.
Did you read the latest issue?
Oh yeah, the issue
Yeah.
4 from this week.
So
Yeah,
this was the best one yet because there was actually like some real thread of a plot there that was, set like issue 3 was good. Like the first 2 issues, hardly any dialogue. You just kind of fly right through them. Issue 3 goes at this, very similar. And then the end, it actually picks up and now you've got some action going on. And issue 4 was just pedal to the metal. Absolutely loved it. Like it's given me that intrigue. It's now all starting to come together a bit. And, it's fucked up, but in a very good way.
yeah,
I can't get I can't explain it. I just can't get enough of it.
yeah. It's weird. It's an odd series, but Rick
Yeah.
Remender obviously does a great job when it comes to his writing. So,
Yeah.
Of course, he wrote Tokyo Ghost, which I talked about a little while back on the show. But enough of that.